Turtle. I like turtle. I like turtle. I like turtle. I like turtle. Turtle. I like turtle. I like turtle. I like turtle. I like turtle. Turtle. Don beat. 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 Turtle. I like turtle. I like turtle. I like turtle. Turtle. I like turtle. I like turtle. I like turtle.
All right, what's up, Turtle Riders? How y'all doing out there tonight? Welcome back to the program, fellas and ladies. My banned from Twitter. Can I tweet this out yet? If you guys follow me on Twitter, I was suspended. Let's see if I can. I got suspended last night at your account is now fully restored. Okay, I'm back on Twitter. I'm back. I'm allowed on Twitter at Real Uncle TB. I have a feeling I'm not going to last very much longer on there. Been on there for like 2 months. I feel like this is bound to end. So what I'm going to go do right now is, and here's what, I don't know if you guys see what I got suspended for in there for 12 hours. I called some guy a bitch boy because that's how he was acting. I mean, it was literally describing his behavior. It's like, I just get in these Twitter pissing matches with people too often. I should really not get into it. But I called him a bitch boy, and that got taken down for harassment or something like that. Literally, I mean, just if you Googled bitch boy on Twitter, I'm sure millions of people say much worse things than that. But it is what it is. We all know the game is rigged against Turtle Boy, and we're still here. So you can still always follow the other one. All right, we got a nice little crowd tonight. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tweet this out. I'm also on Parler. Get at me on Parler, guys. If you're on Parler, I'm almost up to 1,000 followers on there. Parler.com. It's like the new alternative to Twitter. It's kind of whack because there's no liberals on there. Like it's boring without liberals. You need them. Like you need an enemy to combat with, or else what are you doing? But it's at least it's somewhere where you can talk and post and shit like that. So get on Parler. I'm sharing this on Twitter right now at Real Uncle TB. We live. All right. We live. All right. So welcome back, guys. I'm glad to be back from vacation. Hope you guys had a nice week off. As I did. Let's see. There we are. All right. We got a nice little crowd here. I've gone ahead and I've shared this to the Clarence Woods Emerson account, as well as the Turtleboy Sports Forever and the Uncle TV Facebook page. Like all those, follow us everywhere. Let's get our audience up on there as well. And we got some cool stuff to talk about tonight. You guys have a good week last week, hopefully. I missed you guys. I had a nice vacation myself up at Lake Winnipesaukee. Never been there before. It's a big freaking lake. I'm not going to lie. I've never seen a lake that big before. I don't know if any of you guys have vacationed up there, but it's cool. You know, we're done with that. I didn't bring any receipts. Sorry, Michelle Olsen. I did go on a vacation. I apologize for that deeply, but we saved a lot of money. We had a nice little Airbnb up there. It was lovely. But I missed you guys. I missed being in the fray. I got all the messages. I've caught up on my inbox. I have a shitload of stuff to write about this week. I didn't fish. I did not get a chance to fish, but we had plenty of time for other stuff. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about on the agenda tonight is this situation that I did, the blog I did today on qualified immunity. Let me bring that up. Oh, and by the way, once again, Turtle Boy is basically a crowd-funded site at this point. So any and all donations are graciously welcomed. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to post the link to this. Where is it? Right there. The link to the fundraiser right there. If you feel like donating, what the hell is that on the screen? I guess the ads are coming up there, but if you feel like donating and yeah, you leave a funny message, I'll read it off during the show and we'll have a good time. All right. So while you were sleeping last night, the people who run our state, the state Senate, voted on a bill that was called a police reform bill. However, it does very little to actually reform the police. About 2 months ago, police in the state and in your cities and all over the place were national heroes, if you recall. They were, during the pandemic, they were literally requested to do birthday parades and stuff like that. And they're out there, they're, essential workers out there putting themselves in the front lines, risking themselves from the evil virus that's out there killing grandma. They're on the front lines, right? So we were applauding these people. Then one rogue police officer in Minneapolis decides that he's going to kill George Floyd. Now, all of a sudden, police in Massachusetts need to be reformed, even though, like I said, 2 months ago, they were heroes. Who knew? So how are they going to reform the police? Well, the first thing, they want to ban the chokehold. That's one thing they want to do, ban the chokehold. And a couple other things on there. They want to get them licensed. I don't even think the union is against the licensing aspect of it. But they also want to get rid of collective bargaining. And collective bargaining is literally, without that, unions have no reason to exist. From a historical perspective, whenever they want to attack organized labor, and it was always conservatives that went after organized labor, they didn't like them. Whenever they wanted to attack organized labor, they would just take away collective bargaining, because all collective bargaining is the right of the union to sit down with their employer and negotiate a contract. That's it. Doesn't mean they have to get paid a certain amount of money. It's free speech. That's what collective bargaining is, free speech. They want to be able to speak freely and basically just come to an agreement about how much they'll be paid, how much time they'll get off, health insurance, all that good stuff. It's pretty basic stuff, collective bargaining. Well, that's basically been taken away with this bill since it passed, because now a lot of this undoes what has already been collectively bargained by police departments, between police departments in the cities that they represent. So why do we need this bill? So was anybody in the state choked to death by a police officer? Is that a problem here? Right? What are the licenses? Okay, whatever. You want a license? Teachers need licenses, whatever. That just seems like more of a tax than anything on police officers. And these things should be bargained by the union. Like, that's the whole purpose of this. The police in our state and any workers should not be punished because people in other states can't do their jobs. I always felt that way as a teacher. They'd always put like restrictions on us, and you need to get this certification and this one because test scores are low in freaking New Mexico. Well, test scores are high in Massachusetts, so why are we being given this extra tax? It's the same line of thinking. But where they got them the worst is with qualified immunity. And this is the new buzzword that you're going to hear out there with politicians, particularly from the left, is this need for to end qualified immunity. It sounds shady, doesn't it? Immunity. The word immunity makes it sound like cops are getting away with something. They're immune. They're immune. They're special. They're qualified. They can get away with shit that you and I can't because they're protected by the thin blue line, aren't they? They never get in trouble for anything. When they break the law, the rules don't apply to them. That's the way that sounds, qualified immunity. But when I first started hearing that word, I didn't know what the hell it meant. I'm like, it sounds like are they immune from being prosecuted? What does it mean? Well, Derek Chauvin was arrested, and he is going to be prosecuted, as have other cops before him. And he's in jail right now. Why is he in jail? If he has qualified immunity to protect him. Because that's not what qualified immunity is, dumbass. Qualified immunity, all it does is it protects public servants from civil litigation, from something that happened on the job. This is the definition. Qualified immunity grants government officials performing discretionary functions immunity from civil suits unless the plaintiff shows that the official violated clearly established statutory or constitutional rights of which a reasonable person would have known. So even with qualified immunity, you can still technically be sued. Technically. But all it does is it protects, like, for instance, firefighters, right? If a firefighter goes into a house to rescue somebody and he goes on the wrong floor. Oops. Somebody dies as a result of that. It's not good. It's incompetent. But should the firefighter be sued for that? It's basically like being a good, it's like Good Samaritan laws exist for the same reason qualified immunity does, because people who are trying to help you should not be deterred from helping you. And that's what these frivolous lawsuits would do. Take it from the expert guys on frivolous lawsuits. Nobody gets sued like me. I know this better than anyone. I know more about frivolous lawsuits than anybody, as we all know. Police officers are about to find out the same if this gets through. They're about to find out the same because they are going to get sued for everything. We've seen there's this guy in Worcester, this attorney, Hector Pinheiro. I've been blogging about this guy for years. Biggest scumbag. His son is this gangbanging douchebag from Worcester. And he represents every asshole who has ever existed in Worcester and has a grudge with the police and feels like they've been, my rights, didn't do nothing wrong. Every asshole in Worcester has been represented by Hector Pinheiro. And Hector Pinheiro makes a living suing the Worcester Police Department. And how he doesn't really win much because the police department in the city evaluates the costs of litigation and they say, it's cheaper to give this guy a check to go away. They do it to him all the time. The guy literally makes a living suing the city of Worcester because of the police department. Doesn't mean the police department's being bad or anything like that. It just means it's cheaper to make him go away. That's all it is. And I know that from experience, right? I mean, think of how much money I've blown on these stupid lawsuits. Donos. Thank you very much for everybody who's donated to that. Help us fight that. But police officers are now going to be on their own if this passes. So every time they arrest somebody, like when Hector Pinheiro sues, he sues the city. The city has insurance. The city budgets for this shit. They pay it off. The individual police officer does not. So what's going to be the net result of that? Cops aren't going to want to do anything. Like, why would you want to do anything? Why would you want to go help somebody if you see somebody who's just been, like, for instance, look at that thing in Enfield a couple weeks ago. Remember that story? Those douchebags out there. The cops got called to a man in distress. The guy was trying to kill himself. Remember that guy with that chin strap, that real douchebag there? Cops got called down there because they thought, hey, this guy's going to kill himself. So they go down there and they try to save his life. And what happens? They get punched in the face. And they get a bottle thrown at them. And so then now they got to arrest these guys and rough them up a little bit. Well, what happens when those guys sue? Which they will. Of course they'll sue. That's going to happen all the time now. Every asshole, anybody can sue anybody in this country. Rian Waters, we're going to talk about him in a little bit. We got that tape coming up, by the way. Rian Waters can sue people. I mean, it's ridiculous. I've been brought to court by Hadassah Rose. Every asshole I've ever written about has brought me to court. So now they can be sued civilly and it can't be dismissed. They can be sued right now, but it gets dismissed real quick because of qualified immunity. That will no longer exist. And what do you need qualified? Like, who cares if Derek Chauvin can't be sued? What do you want to sue him for? He's in jail. What else do you want? You want to sue him? The thing about civil court, too, is the bar is much lower. All it takes at trial is a 51% chance of guilt. O.J. Simpson was found not guilty of murder, even though we all know he did it. He had no chance in the civil trial because all it takes is 51%. He's found guilty. He can't make a dime. It all goes to the Goldmans, rightfully so. And that's what civil court was made for, stuff like that. But every police officer is going to have to deal with this now. And it's not just cops. It's all public servants. It's firefighters. It's teachers. I mean, if you're a teacher and you fail a kid now, they can sue you. Like, that's insane. The principal can sue you. I mean, the principal can get sued by the parents. I mean, this is the world that we're living in. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. And it's an attack on the police. That's all this is. This is just a bunch of people who hate the cops, who are getting revenge on them in any way that they can. And it's an absolute disgrace that this is being presented as an acceptable and not, like, I would expect this type of behavior from AOC, Ilhan Omar, that ilk, the real radicals. but it's been mainstreamed by the Democratic Party. It has. And this is why you can't vote Democrat. You got to vote Republican across the board in November. You have to. Even if you don't like Donald Trump, you have to do it. Because the other side, this is what they want. They want to literally get rid of the police, make it impossible for cops to do their job. And what is the effect this is going to have? Well, it's going to hurt communities of color primarily because, there tends to be more crime in those neighborhoods. So police aren't going to do their job. It's going to turn into the Wild West. And innocent people of color are going to get hurt by this. Now, why? Why? Because the state Senate voted against it. And little known fact, let's look who's actually in the state Senate, shall we? Here, by the way, here's the list. 30 voted yes to end qualified immunity. All Democrats. All of these people are horrible. The ones you expect this from are Jamie Eldridge, who is just fucking cancer. The guy is the absolute worst person on the face of the earth. Terrible. I've written about it a bunch of times. Google him. Sonia Chang Diaz, awful. Harriet Chandler, the woman who parks in handicap spots all the time, even though she's like 98 years old, but not handicapped somehow. Karen Spilka, awful. She's the Senate president, I believe. Few of these. There's a Ted Kennedy. Who knew? He was an asshole too. Patricia Jalen. She added an amendment to the bill. This woman, the Golden Girls, this lady, holy shit, she's old. She had an amendment to the bill that would ban the people who are the schools from contacting and being in communication with the police about known gang members. I can't tell you how elitist and dangerous that is. There are gangs, like there's over 40 recognized gangs in the Worcester public schools. And that's Worcester. That's not Boston, right? It's a much, obviously, larger city than Worcester. You can imagine how many gangs are represented in schools there. And it's really important for schools to be able to communicate with police officers to know, like, who's in a gang here, who's got beef with who. Like, schools have to understand to be on top of that stuff, to keep people safe from violence. Gangs fight. They have drama. Schools need to know. Principals need to know who has problems with who. When I taught at Fanning, at the alternative school in Worcester, we had meetings about this stuff. There was a lot of gang members that I taught. We had to know, who over the weekend, this gang fought this gang. There's going to be drama. There's going to be beef on it. We got to be ready for it on Monday. This is important stuff to know. But these people that are passing this shit, they don't live in the city. They're not around any of this stuff. They've intentionally isolated themselves far away from black people and minorities and gang members as much as possible. Like, their idea of gangs were when they watch West Side Story. They don't know anything about this stuff. They don't understand how prevalent it is in schools. They don't understand that kids are actually in gangs. They don't understand that a lot of 19-year-olds are still in freaking school in some of these cities. They don't give a shit about that. They don't care about the danger that this represents to teachers. Don't even get me started on teachers, by the way. Most useless teachers union, most useless union that's ever existed. Talk about a group that doesn't advocate for their own people. They're literally, they should be the loudest ones against this bill. This puts them in danger. Police are the number one, like, you want the little old lady from your English class to break up a fight between two 19-year-old gang members? No, you need police. You need resource officers in school. You're not trained to do that. You're trained to teach English. So anyway, getting a little off topic here. So all those people are horrible. Shout out to the 7 that voted yes, or voted nay on this, rather. Okay. Ryan Fatman's awesome. Love Ryan Fatman. I've met with him a couple times about a couple concerns that I have. He's from Sutton. He represents kind of like lower Worcester and Norfolk County. Great guy. Can't say enough good things about Ryan Fatman. In a normal state, he'd be a congressman by now. But also Dean Tran from Fitchburg. Love Dean Tran. Good guy. Shared the Turtle Boy blog today. Those are the 2 Republicans that did it. The 5 others are all Democrats, and they should be applauded as well because they crossed party lines to do the right thing. Ann Goby, somewhat of a moderate Democrat. She represents the Quabbin Valley region. So, it's like she's a Democrat, but she represents a lot of people who own guns. Put it that way. John Vellis, I believe he's from Westfield, I want to say. Good for him. Michael Moore, he represents part of Worcester. He's from Millbury. Good for Michael Moore, somewhat of a moderate Democrat. Nick Collins and Michael Rush, I believe they're from Boston. I think Nick Collins is. But they should all be applauded for this because they all crossed party lines and they did the right thing. Now, the real cowards are these three assholes at the bottom, especially Bruce Tarr. Bruce Tarr is the Senate Minority Leader, a.k.a. the lead Republican from Gloucester. What a fucking coward he is. And Patrick O'Connor, another Republican. What a coward. You're going to vote present? You might as well vote yes. You might as well vote with them. What a coward. What is the point of voting present? What an absolute pussy he is. Disgrace. Now, there's 40 members of the Senate, and 36 of them are Democrats. That shows you how radical our state is. 90%. Let's take a look at some of these folks. See what they look like. Well, let's see. They're standing up for communities of color, so they got to be a lot of diversity, right? Okay, let's play Find the Black Guy. Michael Barrett. No, he won't do. Joseph Boncourt. This guy appeared in a blog before. Joseph Boncourt once. He's friends with probably the most racist guy I've ever profiled from East Boston. Google him on the site. You'll see what comes up. Michael Brady, white. Brownsberger, white. Sonia Chang Diaz, she's Latino, I guess, but she's basically the most diverse person they'd have in the Senate. Harry Chandler, white. Nick Collins, white. White. They're all fucking white. Your name Julian, you're definitely white. Jamie Eldridge, white. Paul Feeney, white. Barry Feingold, white. Look at all these white people. Holy shit. There is the only two people of color in the entire state Senate are Dean Tran and Sonia Chang Diaz. That's it. If you're counting at home, there are 0 black people. 0. 0, 0, 0. Oh, this is going to get clipped too, by the way. And I don't give a fuck. Do everything. Anytime liberals tell you not to do something, do it some fucking more. I have no desire. I don't care what this means. I'm going to fucking do it because it pisses you off. So suck on that. I'm the guy you can't tell what to fucking say. Understand that, bitches? Clip that shit. The beauty of not having any advertisers really is you can't fucking attack me anymore. So suck on that. Anyway, you'll notice that, like I said, they're all just a bunch of white people, aren't they? And so why are they doing this? Well, these people don't even live in these communities that they're allegedly trying to stop. And the guy who is championing the bill is William Brownsberger. And he's from Belmont. I believe he might represent part of Cambridge, I want to say, and other parts of Middlesex County, and apparently into Suffolk County. I don't know if he represents the Back Bay, but he's just a douchebag. I emailed this guy, and I put the emails. You guys see these correspondences? And we're going to call this guy in a moment because I have his number. So we're going to give him a call. So we got a cell right there. So I emailed this guy because somebody had CC'd me on an email that they'd written to him in May. Back when Karen Polito had that party. Remember that party Karen Polito had when she was telling us all to stay at home? And she had a big graduation party at her brother's house. She threw her brother under the bus. But it was okay because they use social distancing. We'll just have to take their word for it, of course. So a constituent contacted Brownsberger and was like, Turtleboy wrote this thing. He's like, I don't know fucking Turtleboy. I haven't seen anybody else write about this. So I contacted the guy and I'm like, look, buddy, here's who I am. I was respectful about it. Here's the blogs I've written. Here's the Boston Globe citing me for the state police stories, etc. So he was cordial at first. He said, hi, Aidan. Thank you for this. Glad to know. Glad to know you. I'm confused. Did she have a party or attend a party? And I made it very clear. It's a cul-de-sac. It's a compound. They own all 3 homes. She was there. She admits to being there. And quite frankly, it doesn't really matter if she hosted it or not. She admits to violating her own rules. And he said, thank you. I'm disappointed too. Now, Karen Polito is allegedly a Republican. This guy's a Democrat. He should be going after her, right? I mean, this is perfect opportunity. This woman violated she's the lieutenant governor of the state, second most powerful person in the state, disregarding her own stay-at-home orders. Should be scandalous. And he says he's disappointed. I will discuss the question of whether it is appropriate for us to comment on it. What do you need to find out whether or not it's appropriate? You're a state senator. You can comment on anything you want. Of course, you need to discuss this? Whatever. So I'm like, so what's going to happen? I said. And he goes, most likely nothing. I don't generally see myself in the business of calling out the weaknesses and mistakes of others. What? That's what politicians do for a living. They call out the weaknesses and the mistakes of others, right? You call out bullshit when you see it. You tell me this guy's never called out Donald Trump or anything like that? So I say we give him a call. Should we give him a call? I want to find out why he thinks, because he's calling out, like he believes police officers and public servants should be called out, not only called out, sued for their mistakes. But Karen Polito should not. Interesting. Let's call him up. Phone number 617-771-8274. Here we go.
This is Will Brownsberger. Thank you for calling. If you leave a message, I will get back to you as soon as possible.
At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hello, Senator Brownsberger. My name is Aidan Kearney. I am from Turtleboy Sports. We spoke in an email correspondence a little over a month ago in regards to the party that was held at Karen Polito's house in violation of her own social distancing order. I believe at the time you told me that you would not be commenting on it because you don't believe in commenting on the mistakes of other people. So I'm just kind of calling for a quote. If you have a comment on why you believe then that the police in your bill should not have qualified immunity from mistakes they make, if the lieutenant governor herself does have somewhat qualified immunity from even constructive criticism from you for making mistakes. Perhaps you can clarify that. I'd also like to know why politicians are also exempt from this, because what if you pass a law that ends up killing somebody? What if you do something like that? Should somebody be able to sue you? I would appreciate if you could give me a call back. My phone number should have come up there, and I look forward to hearing your thought process on this. Thank you. Bye. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, it's way past this bedtime. So it's all fucked up, guys, isn't it? It's so fucked up that we treat police officers like that in this state. Look at this dude. Holy neck. Look at this guy. Good Lord. This guy's a human giraffe. I mean, I just could not believe in the hypocrisy of this. I could not believe in the hypocrisy. Anyway, let's talk a little. You guys want to talk about Rian Waters for a moment? Let's talk. So, Rian Waters. Let me just hit the refresh button in case we got any donos. I don't want to miss anyone. Ooh, we got some donos. Okay. Thank you to our sponsors today. Rich Bridges says, "Throw up the beautiful hand signal." Again, there you go. Represent. We also have here Suzanne says, in memory of Jesse. Okay, Jesse 7. Okay, keep up the fight, Unc. Sounds good. Thank you. So thank you guys for that. If you feel like donating, here's the link once again. Boom. All right, I'll read off any funny thing you say on there. All right. Anyway, let's talk about Rian Waters for a moment, shall we? Let me switch the screen here. and I will go over to the Rian Waters screen. So, if you guys recall, in Rian Waters is a guy who sued me. I don't even know where to start with this. I wrote a blog about him years ago. A blog was published about him. I've written several blogs about him. He sued me after he beat the shit out of his girlfriend, Sam Carden, and killed their dog. And it was blogged about on Turtle Boy. It wasn't even that bad. He sued me over it. He was arrested for this. He was very cocky about it. And he thinks he's like a genius. He thinks the police don't know what they're doing. He laughed at them. He mocked them. And then he ended up on Turtle Boy. The charges were dropped against him because Samantha Carden would not testify because she was scared. She was threatened by him. She was intimidated. So we got away with that. He got away with it. He's a real animal, this guy. And he doesn't like the fact that I blogged about him, and he represents himself pro se because he has nothing to do. So I had to hire an attorney. We got the lawsuit dismissed in summary judgment over a year ago, and he is still appealing it. So that's still going on. It's going to cost me a few more grand to get rid of that, I'm sure. Won't get any of it back, of course. I wish I had qualified immunity. But in the meantime, he's also gone a different route and tried to get criminal complaints against me several times. I don't even remember what some of them are for. I've been to like a few of these with him. I've been to two of them with him. And I had to drive out to Hampden District Court in Springfield and explain why I didn't do anything wrong to this gentleman. And the most recent one he tried to get me on was witness intimidation. And when you do this, you go in front of a clerk, not a judge. And a clerk magistrate decides whether or not there is enough there to bring it to, an actual judge. And of course there isn't, because the bar is extremely high. So I got the tape finally. I don't know why. They just emailed it to me today. I asked for this months ago. I thought I'd never get it. They just emailed it to me today. I'm like, sweet. So here it is. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'll go back and play some highlights. But at the end of this, when Ryan gets told that there will be they're not finding in his favor, he threatens to kill himself. And I said he was going to kill himself in 2 weeks, he said. No, it was 2 months, he said. So it was actually 2 months. So I got that one wrong. 2 months he had to kill himself. He'd never followed through, sadly. Never followed through. And he kicks a chair. So let's play the audio, shall we? I'll start with the part where the magistrate is basically telling him no dice.
Day that Mr. Kearney and you allegedly were in the hallway before the hearing. I don't find that calling someone a bitch boy, dog killing, woman beater, piece of SHIT was in any way to intimidate you from not going forward with your complaint. Okay, I don't find that you're intimidated, Mr. Waters. I find that you just don't like the things Mr. Kearney says about you, and that it doesn't meet the elements of intimidation of a witness.
Nope.
So eventually, Mr. Waters, you got to just let this saga end.
Let it go.
Stop filing criminal complaints.
Stop.
He lives in Worcester County. You live here. You have no reason to see each other. You have no reason to interact with him. So I don't know how these are criminal matters. If there's civil issues, that's different. Mr. Kearney, I'll just say this.
He has to say something to me.
First Amendment rights on the blog, but just going forward, when you see people in person, you don't have as quite the protection in First Amendment rights. Words, there's fighting words and things like that you kind of lose your First Amendment protection.
Yeah,
written words, you have a little bit more. So
yeah. He just had to throw something in there.
I'm not going to issue a criminal complaint, Mr. Kearney. Mr. Waters just doesn't rise to the level. I understand you don't like my decision and you're raising your hand.
He's raising his hand.
I understand that, but it doesn't meet the elements of intimidation of a witness. He never mentioned the case that day. He called you names. Calling someone names is not a criminal offense.
No,
so
he's screaming at me in the hallway. He's spit, and also it's seriously alarming. How is that not seriously alarming? That's harassment. It ends up, intimidation of a witness includes harassment. And that
it has to be in furtherance of obstructing or intimidating a person to not go through with a criminal proceeding. He called your names out in the hallway. If we had criminal complaints for every time that happens in these hearings, people call each other names out there, and the hearing went forward. You had your hearing and you were heard, he was heard, and the case didn't go anywhere.
All right.
It just doesn't rise to the level of intimidation of a witness. Maybe it's something else. I don't know, but it's not intimidation of a witness, Mr. Waters. Okay, so no probable cause will issue. Okay, gentlemen, hopefully we don't have to see you back here.
Well, I mean, he's going to do it again. What happens then? I'm doing a redecision, obviously.
Redecision.
What, does this ever end, or because he's just going to keep doing this forever?
I don't know, Mr. Crane. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, if you just
I want nothing more for
go
this
back to
away.
Worcester, and if you don't see him, nothing else can happen here. I don't know.
I never see him.
You're not in Springfield or in
I want
Camden
nothing
County.
more than to be left alone. Well, the reason, one more thing, I guess, is like the reason he said that I was commenting. The reason why I was commenting is because he was harassing me on a weekly basis. He posts something and he harasses me on a weekly basis. And so that was the reason. The only times I commented was when he was harassing me. So it's just, so obviously I'm not, and he also, I guess I didn't get into it on this one, but he said that he's intentionally preventing me from working. So that's the thing is I can't work because of him. So the thing is I'm going to commit suicide in 2 months if I don't figure out something. Yes, I'll go to get a redecision started and
do it. Okay, I got to play that part again. Come on, do it again. You won't.
He's intentionally preventing me from working.
He's intentionally preventing me from working. This is what he loves to say. I can't get a job because of Aidan Kearney because he wrote a blog about me fucking 3 years ago about my arrest for, beating the shit out of my girlfriend and, killing my dog. He's being mean to me. I can't get a job. Bitch, you weren't going to get a job anyway. You know your ass don't work. What you talk about, Ryan? Here we go.
So that's the thing is I can't work because of him. So the thing is
well, at the same time, remember all his messages about how he's making all this money playing poker and he's dominating the world. He used to taunt me with that shit. I messaged him one time. I emailed him once about this when I first got sued about it. I'm like, what's this about? And he's like, you just interrupted me while I was playing poker and I was in a tournament and I was making hundreds of thousands of dollars or something like that. I'm making so much money. And you interrupted me. Oh, no. He's so full of shit, this guy. He's so full of shit. I got to play that part again, though.
Yeah, no, I'm going to commit suicide if I don't figure out something. But
one more time.
I'll go to get a redecision started. And
he's crying.
Sorry. Have a wonderful day.
Okay. All right, Swart. Good luck.
One more time.
Working. So that's the thing is I can't work because of him. So the thing is I'm going to commit suicide in 2 months if I don't figure out something. But yes, I'll go to get a redecision started and sorry. Have a wonderful day.
Okay. All right, Swart. Good luck.
So he kicked the chair right when he said the suicide thing. There's a little noise.
I don't know how to end this.
Yeah, so that was the end. That was the end. Oh my God. Is there any other good parts in there? I'm trying to upload this whole thing to YouTube.
Ryan. Is it Ryan?
Yes. On that day of his interpretation of what happened that morning, where he said he was treating me like an animal. Would you mind if I?
Oh, he's gonna play. He plays the Turtleboy live audio in court. You gotta hear this.
What's the recording?
It's him talking about the morning of the show cause hearing and where he says that he was treating me like an animal, and that I don't deserve to be treated like a human. And that he never will treat me like a civil human being. And
where did you get the recording? Him talking to you over the phone or in person?
He does these online shows where he talks to his audience.
Well, this is a complaint for intimidation of a witness.
Yes.
So whatever he said after on his blog.
Well, it's him admitting to intimidating me before the hearing. That's the reason why I think it's relevant, is because I think in here he goes, oh, there he is, the dog killing woman beater piece of shit. And he's like, I wanted to say it to his face for so long. And he was like, or actually started by saying, it was wonderful that there was nobody in the hallway because it made it so that I could say whatever I wanted to him.
Yes, I said whatever I wanted.
Go ahead.
Here, he plays the live show. And then he can't figure out how to do it. He chokes. Is that perjury that he didn't kill himself?
Right, and that is what I yesterday court with Ryan, which was even crazier. I talked about it on the live feed, but I can't stop. Oh my goodness, the fact that I just had to give up 2 days of production, running my business for these lunatics, right? One's a lunatic and one's a sociopath, right? Charlotte's the lunatic. I'm gonna skip a little bit ahead. Beating. There we go. Peace, great. So I said, sorry. Just
You can't get the right part. It's great.
This is great.
Sorry, I guess I shouldn't have fast forwarded.
Sorry.
So I get to the courthouse and I walk
Sorry.
in and I see him there. And I'm like, no one, I'm like, I can say whatever I want to him right now. This is great.
Yeah.
I go, I saw him down the hall. I said, there he is. The dog killing, woman beating piece of shit. And it felt so good, guys. It felt so good. Because I wanted to say that to his face for so long. I've said it in writing a million times. But to say it to his face.
Hey, Cherokee, it's 5'8.5" to you. 5'8.5". Get it right.
You got the right? Whatever. I'm not going to talk about this. I didn't do anything. Yeah, you did. You fucking killed dogs, dude. And you beat women. And that's all we should say to this guy. That's the only thing that matters about him. I will never treat Rian Waters like an actual contributing member of society.
This is great audio.
That is deserving of anything.
He's like playing my
except
greatest
being
hits.
treated like an animal. Because Rian
It's a
Waters
good rant.
has no humanity.
He doesn't.
An animal.
He is.
Sorry.
I agree. That guy's making a lot of good points.
And then the only
The clerk is like, yeah,
the last
great
thing,
point.
and I'll end it, is that just on, which I believe is attached to the motion, is on I mean, even this one, he said that he was going to do a bunch of criminal processes against me or I could just walk away and take the L.
You could.
Which I understood that he was trying to intimidate me from going to this hearing.
No, I'm just calling you a fucking asshole because you are.
New date, but it was, yeah, it was attached to the motion.
I don't intimidate witnesses.
So I think
I don't get intimidated either.
It's attached to the motion to open.
I mean, this is like Brittany says. I can't believe this is court. This is real life.
I'll end it on that.
This took like an hour. Me and him are taking up an hour of government time.
Does he ever mention the actual hearing?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
No, the day back out in the hallway.
yeah.
I mean, besides calling you names, did he ever say you better not testify or
Does he ever say you better not testify?
No.
drop the charge? Did he ever mention the actual case, or did he just insult you for whatever things happened supposedly you did in the past?
Well, he said that he was going to beat my ass and he was going to beat
No,
me. And
I never
he
said I was
I'm
gonna beat
destroy
your
you
ass.
tonight too.
Just with
Sorry,
my
Did you
words.
take that to me?
I mean, I was mind blown. Originally I went onto my phone to start recording. But then a flash came to my head about the illegal wiretapping. I don't know. He said something like the night before. It just made me nervous. So that's the only reason why I didn't record it. But that was actually on my head, was just, I should record this. And then, I don't know. I just didn't know what to do.
But what did you take that to mean by I'm going to beat your ass in there and then later on? What did you think he meant?
I don't know. I was intimidated by it. I didn't really think it.
And then
I don't
you came
know.
to the courtroom and had a hearing. and
Was
you-
I intimidated?
Yes, with
I don't know.
clerk magistrate.
Yeah, and I told her that I needed a few minutes to compose myself after.
He did. He stepped outside.
And actually, so that's as far as like the effect that it did have on me.
He was so
Like
scared.
he ended up mentioning, which is true in the recording, it's like he goes, "Oh, who's your doctor?" And at the time, I couldn't think of anything. I couldn't even think
You
of
guys-
the place where I go.
You guys remember that when he was like, in my first hearing with this idiot, I'm in there, and the first time he tried to get a criminal complaint against me, he's like, I couldn't work because my doctor said I have like post-traumatic or something like that. Like remember he said he had like Turtleboy syndrome. He actually made up a syndrome that I gave him. And so I'm like, do you have a doctor's note that says that? Who's the doctor? Because I got to cross-examine him. I said, who's the doctor that diagnosed you with this? And this is his explanation right now of why he was unable to provide that to me, because he couldn't do it. And he actually asked to step outside of the courtroom. And this is his reason.
After. And even though, and actually, so that's as far as like the effect that it did have on me. Like he ended up mentioning, which is true in the recording, it's like he goes, "Oh, who's your doctor?" And at the time, I couldn't think of anything.
I couldn't think of it.
I couldn't even think of the place where I go to therapy.
Yeah, and
that was just, and I think that was the effect of the witness intimidation. There was
right.
multiple times where while I was arguing, I would just completely forget what I was saying.
So he's literally saying, he's saying this. He was so intimidated by our brief interaction in the hallway, in which I called him a woman beating dog killer. He was so intimidated by that throughout the hearing, he couldn't answer basic questions like, who Who's the doctor that said you had PTSD from Turtle Boy? Who's the doctor? Not only could he not name the doctor, he couldn't name the building, even though he says he regularly goes there for therapy. And I know this motherfucker don't have health insurance because he's homeless. He doesn't have a fucking job. And when he came to court on this day, this is the day Amanda Sawyer was there. Remember Amanda Sawyer? Where the hell has she been? This is the day Amanda Sawyer was there. And he went out to like get Chinese food. Like she went there to pick his legal brain. And she cut ties with him after that because he was like latched onto her. And Bristol was the one that told me this because Bristol became friends with Amanda. And I didn't say it at the time because she's like, don't say anything. I'm becoming friends with Amanda Sawyer. And I said, he told her, he asked Amanda Sawyer, can I go out to eat with you guys? And then he never fucking paid. He stiffed him on the bill. He's like, oh yeah, can you come back and I'll gotta go find my wallet. And of course, there's no fucking wallet. And basically, she realized she'd been grifted by this asshole. It was hilarious. Let me play the rest of it, and then we'll take some questions.
And again, it's directly related to him harassing me beforehand.
Oh yeah.
And it's the reason why I was so forgetful.
Did you bring it up that day to the clerk that was sitting here?
Nope. Nope, you didn't.
I said initially that I needed a few minutes to compose myself.
Oh, right. Compose himself.
Yeah. Well, coming to court, for anyone, it can be stressful.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Very
normal.
stressful. Very stressful.
When you're confronting somebody that you have
So
conflict with.
Yeah.
But did he make any overt suggestion that you better drop this case or?
Well, that's what recently. Recently, he said that.
Where does it say that?
You built the perfect case for me to file a criminal complaint for malicious prosecution. After that, I'll be filing and receiving a restraining order for the threats you sent. Then I'll be coordinating with the Hamden County DA's office to reopen your domestic violence dog murdering case.
Yes, we should do
that.
You
will be in jail where criminals like you belong.
Yes.
Or you could walk away and take the L. Your call. Which I understood that as if I dropped this criminal complaint, then he was not going to work with the DA's office. He wasn't going to file a restraining order, and he wasn't going to file his criminal complaint for malicious prosecution.
He's saying that me threatening to pursue litigation against him for killing a dog is a threat. That's what a threat is to him.
Or so to me, it was like either he was going to do all that, or I dropped this hearing. So that's pretty direct if you ask me.
We'll take it.
If you ask me.
Okay.
Nobody's asking you, luckily.
All right. One more question before I hear from Mr. Kearney. So
Why'd you wait
2 months to file this complaint? Why didn't you just go right downstairs
Good question.
and file it that day? Or
Yeah, because he didn't file anything.
I certainly didn't want to be in the same room as him ever again. I didn't have to be.
Right.
So it was.
Here we are because you filed another complaint against him.
Here we are.
Exactly. So but at the same time, okay, the initial complaint was also for witness intimidation and perjury. The witness intimidation was a civil case, and that civil case, which that's the statement of facts goes into, is the reason why I didn't present evidence in the case is because of the harassment and just that they threatened to harass anybody else I brought in the case. So that's my issue is I just want to be fairly heard in that case. So I'm doing whatever the heck I got to do in order to be fairly heard. And the judge in that case, she claimed that she was unable to look into criminal allegations.
Yeah.
And which I now know that she had the inherent power to do something. But at the time, I don't know. I thought that the only way to go through it was through the processes I'm doing now.
Okay, Mr. Kearney, did you want to present any evidence?
Yes.
Okay, so then I talk and anyway, I won't play the whole thing. It's like half an hour long, but wild shit, man. This is ridiculous. This is kind of a preview of what police have to come. I guess they'll have to deal with shit like this all the time because they won't have qualified immunity. So every asshole, think of how many Rian Waters police deal with on a daily basis. A lot of them. There's no shortage of Rian Waters out there. Overly litigious douchebags who will abuse the court systems, and our leaders don't understand it. So I would urge everybody to contact your state rep if you live in Massachusetts. You should know who your state rep is. Contact them. They're much more approachable than your state senator because they represent less people. So find out who they are. My state rep is Kim Ferguson. She's a Republican. She's already said she's voting no on this. She's voting no. So contact your state rep. There are plenty of moderate Democrats out there, common sense Democrats, who will vote against this. I don't know. I heard Margaret Milliken was saying today that Charlie Baker said he's going to vote. If Charlie Baker fucking signs off on this, what fucking use is this tyrant? He's supposed to be a Republican. This is like, if you can't support the police, what use are you? What an absolute tyrant he would be. I hope to God Charlie Baker doesn't fucking sign this bill. What is the point of having a Republican if he's going to sign a bill like this? What is the point? So contact your state rep, email them, do what you got to do. Do not let this fucking bill pass. Anyway, any questions you guys have? Can the union or city, state still financially back the cop in a civil suit? No, they can't. They're on their own. They're completely on their own. Unless they want to just, pay for insurance. And good luck. I couldn't buy insurance. If you guys remember, I couldn't buy insurance. I don't know how the police are going to be able to buy insurance because it's going to be a high risk thing. Who's going to sell insurance to them? They're guaranteed to get sued. And I would have a hard time believing that these people are going to be able to buy insurance. So if the police officers themselves don't pay for this, then you are paying for it. The taxpayers are. This is just another tax on you. That's all it says. Mine is Jim O'Day. I think, Jim O'Day is a perfect kind of guy to contact. He's a Democrat, but he's not one of these like complete radical. He's a liberal, but he's not a nut job. Like the Jamie Eldridges out there, they're going to vote yes on this no matter what. But you can convince these people from blue collar cities and towns and stuff like that. They don't need to do this. They don't need to do this. Other questions. Baker wants to run for president. I don't know who told you that. Charlie Baker cannot run for president of the United States. He can't win. He's a Republican. There's only two parties, man. He cannot win. He's not a conservative. Liberal Republicans cannot win party nominations, just like conservative Democrats can. So Charlie Baker has no ambitions to run for president, and he knows that he cannot ever become president. Senate maybe, but not whatever. Other questions you guys have? Any other questions? I contacted David DeCoste. He's voting no. David DeCoste is one of the good, but he's a Republican too. He actually represents, who he was supposed to be running against? Bobbin for Boners was running for that seat. And she had to drop out of the election because of, and he basically got handed that seat, but he's a good guy. I met him at a couple rallies. He's a good guy. But, you can count on the Republicans, hopefully, to all vote no on this, but that's not going to get you very far. You need the Democrats too. You got to contact the moderate Democrats. I'm telling you, just send them an email with your respectfully worded concerns about this. They'll get back to you. Tuberville is beating Sessions. Is the Alabama senatorial primary tonight? That's interesting. It's very interesting. Anyone wearing a mask up at the lake last week? No, there were guys, I guess, some masks. We didn't go out to eat in a sit down dinner place anyway. So no, I didn't see that. There were some people with masks, but not that many people. Vacation was great. Thanks for asking. Like I said, we did some tubing up there, man. That was fun as shit. I brought my 2-year-old out on the tube. He wanted to go out tubing. It was fun. I taught both my kids learn how to swim this week. The 5-year-old can swim on her own without floaties now. The 2-year-old, when he first got there, we had a pool at the house. He didn't want to jump in. He made me hold his hands at first and jump in that way. And eventually you trick them. And then you say, hey, jump, I'll catch you. And then they jump and you're like, psych. And then they just go in and they fall under and they realize it's not so bad. It's not so bad. They learned it on their own. So I had a good time. I had a really good vacation. I didn't do shit. I read a book for the first time in 6 years. I haven't read a book since I started. I used to read books all the time. I was a very learned guy. just don't have time for it anymore. So I said, I'm not going to do any blogs this week. I'm going to read a fucking book. I read the Kavanaugh book by Molly Hemingway. It's really good. Really good book. What's the status of the legislation? It goes to the House of Representatives now. Dianna Ploss, I meant to blog about that. Fuck that. Dianna Ploss is such an embarrassment. Such an embarrassment. And she became a national embarrassment today. But guess what? She loves it. She loves being a national embarrassment. Dianna Ploss's whole thing is like, Charlie Baker and the Rhino establishment, they don't like me because I support this president. And I support Donald Trump. And none of these fake Republicans out there, they don't support Donald Trump like I do, and they all want Sharia law. These people are obsessed with Sharia law. Like they really think it's fucking coming. Like any day now, women are going to have to wear hijabs in this country. Like that's at all something conservatives should have to be fucking worried about. Sharia fucking law. What are you talking about? Sharia law. I'm more worried about the fucking, we're going to have school in September. Oh God, the fucking teachers. Let me tell you. I'm almost ashamed to be a former teacher at this point. I'm ashamed of all these people the union that doesn't want to go back to work. First of all, I'm not going to go over the whole fucking virus again, but it doesn't kill kids. It doesn't kill kids. They can get it. They might be able to spread it, but it don't kill them. So who cares? They don't go on ventilators because of it. Now, what if teachers, the average age of teachers in the state is 39. 39. You're no threat to get it. Or you're no threat to die from it if you get it. Who cares if you get it? That's my whole thing with the talk about cases. Who cares? And guess what? It's not going. Coronavirus is here to stay for a while, baby. Get used to it. What are you not going to go to school till then? It's a fucking disgrace. It's an embarrassment. These teachers that don't want to go back to work. Oh, I could get sick. Well, then sit in your home and fucking die of starvation then. Not my fucking problem. Everybody else is going to work and doing shit. Have some fucking pride. If I was still teaching, man, I used to love teaching. It was like, I looked forward to it. I didn't even like the summer that much. I couldn't wait to get going in August. If I went 6 months without teaching, I'd be fiending to get back in the classroom, baby. Fiending for it. But these teachers, they're like, oh, am I going to be safe? Oh, shut up. Your irrational fears are no longer our problems. You know? And any spike that happened is because of the goddamn protests anyway. So that's where your anger should be at. The protesters that you all supported, let's be honest. Have some pride. Get in the classroom and do your job. Because guess what? The suburban kids whose mommies and daddies can afford tutors and stuff like that, they'll be okay. They'll survive this. They come from loving homes where parents are there for them and make sure that they're learning on their own. The kids I had at Fanning are not like that. These kids need school. It is important for them. I mean, that's the whole thing, right? With teachers, like, are you vital or not? I believe you're vital. I believe that a teacher is a really important fucking job. You are an instrumental part of children's lives and the functioning of our society. You're very important. I completely agree with that. A lot of people, conservatives over the years, have said otherwise, but I'm a good union supporting, teacher supporting guy. So I got your back. I think you're very important what you do. Right? But if you're making the argument that you should be able to stay home, then how fucking important are you? If we can just do without, no biggie. Like, imagine hospitals do that. Man, we just want to have fucking hospitals. We just want to have police. Some people want that. We want to have a fire department. Whatever. I mean, Apple stores are fucking open. Apple stores. Throughout the whole fucking pandemic, they didn't close. All these places are opening, but schools can't? Are you kidding me? Are you essential or are you not essential? Have some fucking pride in your profession. I mean, that's what I don't get. It's like, I would be dying to get back in the classroom because these kids, there are things, school is more than just, reading the book and passing the tests and stuff like that. Schools for a lot of these kids, and they're not getting this at home with the Zoom calls and stuff like that. It provides structure, man. Structure. things that they need. It is a training ground for the real world where, like, for instance, the bell rings. You got 3 minutes to get to your next class. You need to get there. You got your lockers upstairs and you need to get something. You better get there fucking quick. And you know this teacher in the next class, they don't play. They don't do that whole, I'm here 30 seconds after the bell ring. You're going to get detention for that. There's going to be consequences if you do not get to this class in time. That's important. It's important to have kids in your classroom that because they know they can be called upon at any minute at that point. So they have to be paying attention. When they're sitting at home, these things no longer apply. And when they get a job and they're going to have to go to work, they're going to have to be to work on time. Where do you think they learn that habit from? They learn that from school. School teaches you to get places on time. It teaches you to answer questions when called upon, right? To participate in group activities. These are important things for children's development. To suggest that it can just be done online, you're literally disgracing yourself. You're saying that I'm so unimportant that any idiot sitting at home could just do my fucking job for me. Have some pride in your profession. Jeez Louise. Anyway, that's my rant about teaching. I'm very passionate about that, as you know. Yes, and that's a good point, M-Job. They can now sue the teacher if they get detention. Any other questions? If you asked the question, I didn't read it, ask it again. YouTube copyright complaint update. No, there hasn't. I never followed through on that. I had the vacation coming up, so I never followed through. I got another one yesterday for a Dunkin' Donuts video I posted from like 2 months ago in Amherst. I'm speaking with the woman who filed the complaint. She actually didn't mean to file a complaint. It was just, apparently she shared the video first, so it gives her copyright or whatever. She's actually trying to retract it, so we'll see. I have 2 strikes now. If I get a third, I'm fucked. That's my rant about teaching, yeah. What if a teacher flirts with a kid? Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, kids need to develop social skills, Brianna. That's a great point. They need to be around and interact with other kids. That shit's important, man. Like the making friends. I mean, my daughter's going to kindergarten. Kindergarten, man. The first day of kindergarten is such a major life event that might be taken away from her. Like, we live in Holden, and she doesn't really have friends in Holden because, you know, who are you going to be friends with? We don't live on like a neighborhood street. She needs school to have friends and develop hobbies, and you know, like these schools build communities. To suggest that it can be done online, and when does it end? That's what I want to know. When does it end? What do you like? There's not much safer places than around kids. They don't die from it. So what are you worried about? Like, as long as there's one person that has it out there, it's going to spread. So you're going to have to reopen eventually, man. What's the plan here? Yeah, like Todd says, I'm more terrified of no school than I am school. And people that are more terrified of school are showing their privilege. Because it shows that they're so unfamiliar with how the other half lives, right? How kids on Vernon Hill and Worcester, how they're living, how kids in Dorchester are living, and how kids in Lawrence are living. The lack of parental support that they have at home. They need school. Kids at Fanning used to test this all the time, right? They wanted to be disciplined because they've never been disciplined before. It's just their mom yelling, "Yo, get the fuck out of the way. I'm trying to watch fucking Maury Povich. Get the fuck out of the way." That's discipline for them. They're not used to, like, you know, people who actually care about them. They don't have that. A lot of kids come from horrible, horrible homes, man, with no love, no discipline. They want that. Believe it or not, kids want structure. They want discipline. There's nothing more than they actually want from that. Because without structure and discipline, there's nothing to rebel against. Even the bad kids want structure and discipline, specifically so they can break the rules, right? But the good kids want it because they want to be told what to do. They don't want to just sit home and be on your, I mean, you're not in college yet, man. You're a kid. You need this stuff. Absolutely awful. I would never send my kid to public school. He says, I would. I believe in the public schools. I was raised by the public schools. I went to a Worcester public school, a quote unquote failing high school, and I got a great education, man. I had great teachers. School is what you make of it. All these people, oh, the teachers a bit. No, maybe you were a bad student. How about that? Maybe you were unimaginative. I understand some teachers out there were not the best. And there were a couple that I look back, I'm like, that guy doesn't know what he's fucking doing. But again, a great education in the public schools, man. I look back at them. Teachers were some of the biggest influences I had in my life. And I'm looking forward to sending my kid to the public schools. I would send if private schools were free, I'd still send my kid to the public schools because I believe in the public schools. I'm a supporter of the public schools, and I always will be. And that's why I'm like disappointed when teachers, I expect a lot from them. And when they make fools of themselves and they, join Antifa and stuff like that pisses me off because you're disrespecting an honorable profession. And like North Shore says, we are blessed with some of the best public schools in the country, man. In the country. So, I mean, that's a big reason why I moved to Holden is the schools are so good out here. Yeah, A. Marie Page says, I had some great teachers in high school. I still think about them to this day. Absolutely, me too. What are parents going to do that after work? Quit their job, leave their kids home, and hope they do their assignments? That's a great question too. How's this going to work? Like my wife, it's different situation. My wife's a teacher. So like when she, I suppose if she goes back, then my daughter goes too, right? So I don't have that problem. What if your wife works at an insurance company, And then what are they going to do about daycare? I mean, we need an answer for this. It's July 15th tomorrow. We need an answer for this. And by the way, tomorrow is the 2-year anniversary of Michael Chestnut getting killed. And these assholes have the audacity to pass this goddamn law right when that happens. I didn't even think of that. Disgraceful. Disgraceful. Anyway. Any other questions? Let me hit the refresh, see if there's any more donos I got to thank. I don't want to miss anyone. Got a couple more donos here. I want to thank 7 Pounder says, welcome back. Here's $10. Thank you, sir. M Job says, did you hear the Manhattan DA is charging the Central Park woman who called the cops on the African Americans? This DA's name is Cy Vance Jr. Check out his wiki page. Pretty telling. Yeah. And I also saw that's disgraceful that woman is being charged. Her life's been ruined. What else do you want from this woman? The mob has destroyed her. But the guy, the bird watcher there, to his credit, he says he will not testify against her. He does not think that it's right for her to be charged. He didn't want this. He just wanted to shame her on the internet. He didn't want this. So good for him for doing the right thing. But now they're all calling him and Uncle Tom. They're calling him a coon. Because they never gave a shit about this guy. They're like, this guy was just useful because he gave us this white woman to destroy. That's all that was. KB says, thank you for all you do. Huge fan. Thank you, miss. Thank you, miss or Mr. KB. Appreciate that. Mendon Subway. Has that scammer been exposed yet? Not entirely, but trust me. We got more coming on that. Trust me. I work with kids who are from the Dover Sherborne district. Anyone who's dismissive about public schools, please reconsider. Yeah. It's a good district, Dover Sherborne. A lot of money out there. All right. Anything else? I see comments are getting deleted again. Is that right? I don't know what the fuck's happening, man. I don't know what's happening with that. I have no idea. I went on the other day. I don't think mods are doing it. Anybody seen KT? Remember KT, Celtic Tim? Where's he been? I haven't seen him on here in like a couple months, so I took him off as a mod. I don't know if he's mad at me or what. But I haven't seen him on here. So KT, come back. But I looked at all the mods. I'm like, there's nobody on here who's not trustworthy. Nobody. I don't know. Cam Newton thoughts? Love it, man. Love it. How can you not love Cam Newton coming to the Patriots? We got a Super Bowl guy who's been in the Super Bowl before, an MVP, 31 years old. Fuck it. Let's roll. Julian Edelman saved Jackson's behind. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I talked about that with Jerry on Thursday. Ida's another one that disappeared. People said she got coronavirus, but then we don't know what happened to her. The downside of being anonymous on the internet is I don't know your fucking name. So I have no way to like look you up and call you to make sure you're okay. So Ida, if you're out there, I hope you're doing okay. We miss you. Come back. Oh, Laura's awake. I thought Laura would be sleeping by now. Where's Desky? Well, I know we got to bring Desky back, don't we? We got to bring Desky back. All right. Anything else, guys, before we call it a night? Oh, he was scared of the virus, huh? That's interesting. Hope he's okay. Thoughts on the Redskins name change? I talked about that with you. Well, I find that whole topic boring. You know my thoughts. It's stupid. It's giving you the mob, but it is what it is. Find that whole topic extremely boring. All right. Anything else, guys, before we call it a night? I'll give you guys a couple more seconds if you want to ask any more questions. Good audience tonight, man. Nice to see you guys back. Okie dokie then. Yeah, smash that like button. How many likes we got so far? How many likes we got on this video? We get some good likes tonight? We have 80 likes. 80 likes. Yeah, look at all those comments getting deleted. Was timed out by Turtleboy Sports. So it's saying that I'm doing it. But I'm definitely not doing it. That's the thing. And it's not Turtleboy Sports with a period either. I looked that up. There was no admin account with that name. It's my account that's fucking doing it. Deleted comments have bad words. Is that what's happening? What is 7 Pounder doing right now? You guys rating numbers? All right. Anything else, guys? All right. So I guess we will see you guys all on Thursday night. And thanks for supporting us and what we do. Or me for now. Hopefully we'll change that soon. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Peace, Turtle Riders.